subject from Def Rob. What did you ask me? What was the weirdest thing somebody ever said about to me or asked me or
Yes.
What'd you say? What was the question?
What is the weirdest question that somebody's ever asked you? Like the weirdest thing they've ever asked you? Like,
I've been asked some weird shit, bro. So you ready?
yeah.
Someone asked me once if I've ever stuck my fingers up my butt. Hey, true story, man.
I think I still got a beat.
Dude, so I'm like, no, I haven't.
I mean, maybe accidentally on the wipe, when the toilet paper broke.
I mean, I don't know if they were fishing. They were probably fishing for info. I don't know, but I was asked that. Well, what about you? What was the weirdest thing someone ever asked you?
This is crazy, right? So I'm at work.
So I already know it's going to be crazy because you started out with this is crazy.
Hey, it was he was an older man.
This is getting creepy. You just said he's an older man.
This is hilarious. I think it's funny as shit. All
right.
I think it's because, like, so the company that I worked for, had different businesses in different areas, right? So he happened to be down from the Bay Area.
Okay, what company was this? Let's go ahead and just get this out of the way. I'm a journalist here.
Right,
so.
okay. It was Roto-Rooter. I worked for Roto-Rooter, right? And this elderly man, I come out of the office, and I'm talking to him, and he's, I don't remember the conversation, right? Whatever it was, the conversation. In the middle of the conversation, he says, "Did you know if you stick your dick in a chicken, it dies?"
Are you serious?
That's serious as hell.
Does it?
I have no idea.
Does it, Lemar?
He says if you lived on a farm, you fucked everything on the farm. My grandma was hella mad at me because they had a bunch of dead chickens on top of the chicken coop.
Wow, that's crazy, man.
Dude, I've never heard anything even close to anybody, telling me a story than this older cat. It was funny as hell, though. I mean, out of nowhere. I didn't know the guy, really. You know what I mean? Like, he just came from another company. He was an old dude. And I don't even remember what we were talking about. In the middle of the conversation, he drops a bomb on me like this. No, I did not know that.
I remember one time at the prison at Tracy, one of the inmates had to go to the hospital via ambulance because he worked at the dairy. He tried to get a BJ from a calf.
Oh shit!
So apparently it latched on, and it did a lot of damage.
So I grew up on a dairy. I didn't grow up on the dairy, but I grew up in Humboldt County, in Arcata, and we lived in what was called the Arcata Bottoms, close to the ocean. A lot of dairy farms out there. Mm-hmm. And growing up, our neighbor was we knew him as Mr. Pontoni. It was a Portuguese family, and they had a dairy. You would have the calf feed. And then after the calf was done, she still had milk in her, right? Yeah. And then you would have to milk her by hand. But if you got her to drop the milk and didn't finish after the calf was full, then it was a pain in the ass to get the milk to come out.
Right.
Because I don't know if she'd pull it back up or whatever it was. I mean, we were kids, but I learned the hard way. I thought I was being a good helper, and they brought the mom in. They had the mom in there, and I brought the calf in and had the calf feed, and then pulled the calf off, and then Mr. Pontoni's came in there, and she had, I guess, pulled the milk back up, and he was like having a struggle. Yeah.
Do you really think he did that? You really think he stuck his
Hey, I mean, I didn't look it. I was in awe in the question or the answer that he gave me just out of the blue to be period, and I was just like, and he told me, if you lived on a farm, you fucked everything on a farm. I guess he was a horny ass motherfucking dude as a kid.
I don't think that's true. I think he's just a weirdo, bro.
Yeah, no, he probably was. He was. The world makes him, right? And it's put out there. But when he told me that, yeah, I was just blown away, like totally. Like, who even starts a conversation?
All right. So on that note,
don't stick your dick in a chicken.
Okay. You just said that you were blessed.
Oh, definitely.
You just, I mean, so you said that, and I'm like, well, hang on, let me hit the record button because I want to ask you about this.
All right.
You just out of the blue, you said, I'm blessed. I'm like, well, hang on a minute, let me hit the record button because I want to know. Come on, man, talk to me. Talk to me.
So pre to me saying I'm blessed, what video were we watching?
Yeah, at a red light.
At a red light, right?
Down at a red light.
Yeah. And
David Nail, the red light. Yeah.
So my world hasn't crashed. It's literally been built up.
Okay.
Right? And my world didn't start being built until I met my wife. Definitely.
Yeah, Mickey.
Yep. And November 20th is our 25th anniversary.
Okay.
Yeah. 25 years married.
That just passed, right?
It just passed.
What's today? The 22nd round, right?
Yeah. And I'm watching this video and it just hit me, I'm blessed. For the fact that if it wasn't for this woman, my wife, Mickey, there's no way that I would be where I'm at right now.
Yeah.
Even when we got married, it was, well, I've never had it. Why do I need it? You could say like the fancy things, like we've never owned a house. Why you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I've never owned a house. I've never bought a new car. Why do we need these things, right? I'm happy or fine with renting, buying hoopties, the $500 car, if it's broke, I can fix it, kind of deal,
Right.
My goals weren't high. My goals were always, and, I consider myself very lucky that I met this woman that, after 25 years, I own vehicles. I own a house. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But it wasn't something that I don't think if I met this woman, it wouldn't have been that.
So you're saying before you met your wife, you probably would have stayed on the track of being a wayward guy, just no goals as far as owning a house or owning this, owning that.
Right.
Just
and she's the one that did it.
A free spirit.
You know what I mean?
You will.
Because I could have went any other direction. I could have married that one or this one. You know what I mean? That may not have put the goals that high.
Yeah.
But she always said, hey, don't you want a new car? Wouldn't you like to have a new house? A new, a boat? Whatever it was, you know what I mean?
Do you feel that she encouraged you to think the way you're thinking now? She encouraged you to want to own this,
100%. 100%.
And you don't think you would have otherwise?
I think if I would have never been with her, I think it would have went that direction, because that was just my mentality, you know.
Yeah, yeah. And you guys were married for 25 years, right?
25 years now.
I know you mentioned it. I just wanted to say it again.
Yeah. No. Hey, it's not an easy 25 either.
Yeah.
No, not at all. You know, and I was probably the roughest part of it.
I know, man. I was married for 17 years with my ex-wife.
Yeah.
And I know it's no walk in the park.
Hey, this woman has you have no idea. She's put up with so much, you know, and you know, it made me realize, you know, the worth of this woman, you know, being my wife, you know.
Yeah.
But perspective, my first Christmas with my wife, right? And I'm not saying, okay, so man, this is a whole nother cast, right?
We're going there.
Okay. So I was raised in a religion that Christmas was not Christmas. It wasn't a time of giving, right? It was the birth of Christ.
Right.
Right. So there was no Christmas trees. There was no presents. You know, you went to church and.
Oh yeah, and what religion is this?
I was raised Pentecostal.
Okay.
I can't compare it to others because I really don't know. I've heard that early Baptists were this religion, you know, like.
Well, I'm not going to call you on this or that because
Yeah.
I'm educated. I'm uneducated on a lot of fractions. Yeah.
So being raised as I was, first Pentecostal, the holidays didn't exist as of Christmas, but they did, right? Christmas was the birth. Easter never did. So Christmas trees, all that didn't exist. Easter, you didn't do the egg hunting. That was the origin of, you know, Christ. Halloween, oh hell no, that was a devil day, right? So that was just not in the mix, you know. But I knew what Christmas was.
Yeah.
I was probably 13, 14 years old the first time I watched a movie, because TV wasn't in there either, right? That was the devil box. First movie I got to watch scared the shit out of me. And people can laugh, right? Because it's kind of funny if you look back, but...
Say it.
Gremlins.
Okay. I can see that.
First movie I ever got to watch. And I remember I'm at my grandma's house during Christmas, right? And this movie just scared the shit out of me, right? Because I don't know nothing about Hollywood, you know, movie magic or whatever you want to call it. And as far as I know, yeah, the Gremlins were real as hell, you know, which hell was very real to me.
Because when Gremlins came out, how old were we?
I'm figuring it's like
5,
7,
6, 7, yeah, somewhere around there.
I was like, well, I'm figuring like the first. It might not be when it first came out, but I was like 7th grade, maybe 8th grade.
We were youngins when it first came out.
Yeah,
I'll tell you that.
Yeah, so you know it scared the crap out of me, but I never experienced this from the age of 3 till I was probably like 12 or 13, like 7th grade. Church was all I knew, Pentecostal, right? No, nothing other than church.
Yeah.
So my first Christmas with my wife, obviously being older, probably 20, I'm in my 20s. So holidays, were nothing to me.
Yeah.
Right? Christmas, Easter, I had nothing to do with it. I didn't care. It didn't. So my first real Christmas sitting down with a family blew my mind. Coming from a not very wealthy, a very,
Yeah.
Christmas, I remember getting like a box of Lifesavers.
Let me interrupt you real quick. On screen, I typed in Google, when did Gremlins come out? There it is, June 8th, 1984. So I was born in 74, so I was 10 years old when Gremlins came out.
Right. So
you were what, 11?
I was 11, but if I remember when we left the church, it was 7th grade, and that was the first movie that I got to watch. I knew what a TV was, but I had never from the age of 3 to 7th grade watched TV.
Yeah.
So my first movie is Gremlins. And that scared the crap out of me. The funny thing is after I learned about movie magic, I've never seen a scary movie since. They, even though they throw religion, I think the closest might have been like Damien. I don't know if you remember the movie Damien.
No, I never watched that. I don't watch anything demonic.
Yeah.
I'm not into that type of flicks.
So
I barely watched Lost Boys, and that was about vampires. I'm not into I'm not into spooky stuff,
Well, it when I learned after this movie, nothing scared me when I learned about it. So my first real Christmas was when I got with my wife, and I was 27, so like 94. I go to her house. We've been dating 94, 95.
Yeah.
We go to grandma's house, and there's presents everywhere. I mean, just like crazy. I ain't never seen this many presents other than going to the mall and see the fake ones under the tree, right?
Yeah.
And they're stacking all these presents, and my wife goes, "Oh, well, those are yours." And I look over, and they're higher than the couch. Mm-hmm. Right, just stack of presents. I'm just like, holy shit, these are all mine, And that was my first experience, with, like the holidays of Christmas.
Yeah, right.
And but even still today, I'm 51. I'm there, but I'm not, because all the years. And people are like, oh, it's the holidays. All of my learning years, of the holidays, I would say, up 5, 6, 7 years old, I was told there ain't no Santa Claus, that's the devil,
On that note right there, I remember telling my sons that Santa Claus was fake.
And that sucks.
I kind of felt bad about it. I felt like I was doing a bad thing.
You can't say it's a bad thing. That's what you believe, right? I grew up.
I didn't. I wanted to be real with my sons. We want to teach our sons to be real, right?
Right.
Not lie and be truthful. But I'm like, this whole Santa Claus thing, I'm I'm buying these gifts. I'm buying these presents. And I'm going to give the credit to a falsified person named Santa Claus.
Right.
Like, Santa Claus is fake.
Right.
Your dad's buying you presents.
And I understand it. 100% I understand that. But me growing up that Santa was fake when I had kids, I wanted them to believe in something, I guess. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I didn't do that. Even though, my religion says that he's fake and, whatever, but I wanted my kids to believe in, I don't know if it's to believe in something, you know what I mean? But I wanted them to have.
Well, I think it's fun. I think the whole Santa Claus reindeer thing, it's fun probably up till like 9, 10, 9 or
Right.
10, age 10.
Right.
Beyond that, like, quit the facade. Quit lying. I mean, that's just how I think.
No.
Let's tell them the truth. Hey, it's a make-believe thing.
Yeah.
Mommy and Daddy buy you the gifts. But just go ahead and keep on saying Santa Claus got it. But just so you know, Mom and Daddy got it for you.
Right. So my oldest, and my even, but so let's go with my oldest. So, which, call it a good thing or a bad thing. I thought it was a cool thing. The fact that I didn't want my oldest going into 7th grade and be teased
About believing in Santa Claus?
about believing in Santa Claus.
Yeah. Junior high school, that's you should know what's going on by then.
But
I'm with you on this one.
Right. But my daughter didn't. Right? Because I would write notes. You know what I mean? Be the tooth fairy. Hey, Dad forgot, right? And she's like, hey, Dad, I had my teeth been under the pillow for like 2 days. The tooth fairy ain't showed up
I got
yet.
no money yet. Yeah.
And and I'm like, oh crap, so I'm writing these letters, right?
Yeah.
And I'm thinking that she could read my fucking cursive,
Yeah.
right? At what 7, 8 years old.
Yeah.
So I'm learning calligraphy.
Oh, so you're trying to write as like what? The Tooth Fairy?
Yeah, somebody
Santa
like
Claus?
fancy, like sorry, I had a busy day, there's a hell of teeth that I got to pick up this week or whatever, and put that note back under a pillow, and then put a couple dollars under there. I did that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And the reason I did it because I didn't have that growing up. You know what I mean? There was no imaginary friends. No, I had imaginary friends. You know what I mean? I guess, but there was no imaginary. There was no Christmas. There was no Easter Bunny. There was no snowman, no Santa Claus. You know what I mean? And I wanted my kids to have that. I did. I tried very hard. I did. And like I said, all the way up to like when my daughter was going into 7th grade, me and wife pulled her aside and said, "Look, Mama, there's no Santa Claus." And she cried. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I said, "But look, we're going to put something on your shoulders here. Don't tell your little brother and sister." You know what I mean? Let's just keep them happy till they figure it out,
A little secret, Mom and Dad Santa Claus. So
Right.
you're still going to get Santa Claus stuff.
Exactly.
Just don't believe in Santa Claus.
And we did the Christmas Eve was what we bought them. Christmas Day is what Santa.
Yeah.
So for, the years, being whatever it was in between, I was up putting doll houses together, putting bicycles together, because Santa brought those ones, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that had to all do with my religion.
Yeah.
And I think that kids should be able to let their imaginations, because I had imagination growing up.
Well, you know what? Let me bring up. We're talking about Santa Claus, right? In our religion, you were what? Catholic, right?
I was Pentecostal.
Pentecostal. So I was born and raised a Baptist, Christian Baptist. Not that I went to a church a lot, and I'm not that religious at the time. I'm kind of religious now, but not at the time. When it comes to Santa Claus, me as a child, my family, we were never about Santa Claus. Oh, Santa, hey, write a list to Santa Claus.
Right.
Maybe Santa Claus bring it. Or there's no putting cookies out, Christmas tree. We was never taught like
No.
Santa Claus is gonna come.
No, there was no.
Santa Claus was not an issue. So for me to, when I got married and started having kids, and my ex-wife was like all about the whole, tell them it's Santa Claus.
The holiday, you're right.
It's Santa Claus. I'm like, I wasn't born around it, so it was hard for me to play that game.
Right.
It's hard for me to play that imaginary game because I already know there ain't no fucking Santa Claus.
Right.
So I'm going to teach my kids that some imaginary guy's going to bring gifts and bring it to them when I'm the motherfucker
right.
paying for this shit.
No, I get it.
I had a hard time saying, no, this is my credit. I ain't giving it to some imaginary person.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how I thought at the time. So with that in my head, when I told I believe Nicholas, he was the older one, so I said, hey, Santa Claus is not real. It's make-believe. There was a little bit of devastation, and I felt so fucking bad that I was the one giving him this information, but I'm like, this is the truth, though.
Right.
Right? Santa Claus is... It's imaginary.
Yeah, and
So
that was... Look, I knew.
Yeah.
I knew that he was fake. I mean, in my heart, I mean, because of the way I was raised.
So you have Santa Claus and you have Christmas. Christmas is the celebration of Jesus' birthday.
Right.
So why are we incorporating something that's fucking fully make-believe into something that...
So if you look at history, though, right? Saint Nick, so what I've read, I'm going to say what everything I read is true, right?
Yeah.
But according, I guess, Saint Nick was somebody that brought presents to the poor people, right? Something that they, found next to their chimney, right? Which it all evolves to, a man coming down.
So there's Santa Claus and Saint Nick. So are you saying there's some truth to Santa Claus?
I'm saying no. What I'm saying is
because you're about to educate me.
There was. From what I've read, and I'm not, somebody's gonna look at this and be like, that fool dude's so full of shit. But somewhere down the line, there was somebody that was giving gifts, right, on a Christmas day, right,
right,
and it evolved, right, to a Saint Nick being Santa Claus, and I don't even know how that even matches, But when from the age of 3 or 4 years old, when you're told, I was like 4 years old when we joined this church, right, that this day is the day of Christ. This is the birth. This is the death. So you're not going to get fucking presents, and you're not going to go look for no fucking eggs, right? When growing older. And, obviously I'm still not in the church, whatever. But I wanted my kids to have an imagination, and my kids, they know the church, they're all been went through the Catholic.
Yeah.
I don't even know what it's called, but they did it, communion, whatnot. But I give my kids, I've never pushed my religion on them. That there's no Santa. That,
right.
The so-called the truth, right? But so I just let them grow up, the way they want,
Yeah.
Let life, make their choices. Obviously, at some point, you're going to know that Santa's not real, right?
Yeah.
But why break that at 3 years old?
Well, yeah. You get to the age they're like, wait, Santa Claus? Wait, what? No one goes down.
Because they're going to go to school.
No one's being pulled on a sleigh.
Right.
Through the sky with flying reindeer, land on your roof and go down your chimney.
But let the imagination.
Eventually, yeah.
You know, because kids nowadays, I don't think have the imagination that we did when we were kids.
But I still had a problem pushing that narrative. I had a problem. It's like it's imaginary, you know?
But there's nothing wrong with having an imagination.
When they're babies.
No, there's no. I disagree.
Okay.
There's no, even at 50-something years old, I believe there's nothing wrong with having an imagination.
Okay, no, having an imagination, nothing wrong at all. I agree.
But
we have an imagination till the day we die.
But when do you put a cap on it? At what you imagine?
Well, there's what you imagine, and then there's what, like,
reality.
What's really going on.
And there's a fine line.
Okay, so Santa Claus, sleigh through the sky, being pulled by flying reindeer. When do you stop telling your kids that's real? Well, that's where I'm at. When do you stop telling them?
But when is it to you to tell them that it's not real?
Well, as a parent, when like I told my son when I felt that he was old enough to, like, okay, he's a little old to be thinking this fake shit's real.
Right, and that's
it's as a father.
Right,
I felt that it's time for me to tell him.
Because it may make you feel a certain way when your 15-year-old kid's going believing in Santa Claus. Does it make you feel a certain way that you should change that idea?
It does. It does make me a certain way when I think a teenager would think Santa Claus is real, flying through the air in a sleigh with reindeer pulling a sleigh. Yeah, and that's I don't think anybody that old should believe that.
Right, okay, so I understand how you believe.
Yeah,
but I believe there's no limit on it in imagination. I don't think because and it's a total twist, right? Mm-hmm. When do you take the innocence away from a child?
Well, and I think it all comes to, like, how you are in your house, of how you want to raise your family.
Right. No, exactly. You know? But I think the innocence
at the point when I told my son that, hey, Santa Claus is make believe, you know, it's time for you to know. It was a very awkward moment because it was my son. He was still processing it.
Right.
And I'm like, well, this is truth. This is fact. How I know it. Right. And you know what? This is my son.
He's not, you know. And 100%, I understand because I did the same thing. Right. 7th grade was starting. My daughter's going into junior high. She still believed in Santa Claus, which I think I did great as a parent to keep her fantasy, her dreams, whatever, you know what I mean, a reality in her head, right? But I knew going into 7th grade, somebody's going to hurt her, right? And tell her Santa's not fucking real.
Someone's going to make fun of her, like, yo, you believe in Santa Claus still?
Exactly. Yeah. So I had to be the one to break her heart, which sucked, right? As a parent.
I mean, you call it breaking her heart, but someone has to be the one to let her know what time it is. It's not really breaking her heart. It's like...
No, but it did. But can you imagine...
Putting her on a more mature level of, like, what's really going on.
But can you imagine the world, right, where that didn't happen? Where somebody could believe in what they want to believe in and be fine and happy in what they believe in? Be it just simple as Santa Claus, right? And without a world telling her, or that's fake. You know what I mean? Because what you're doing, which I feel is you're taking that innocence, right, as a child, and you're making them grow up, right, at a certain age, and that's what society is doing. Is they're saying, look, at this age, you should know that this ain't real and this is fake, right? But I don't see nothing wrong with every Christmas as a kid believing wholeheartedly that somebody brought them this presents and to make them feel happy. And as a parent, you feel happy because you were able to supply your child with the presents, right? And but that's, I mean, I get it 100%. That's life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And there's a cutoff date when innocence is not there no more. You have to tell them, look, this guy's fake. But I wish, and you know what I mean, myself, but I know it's never going to happen, that you could keep that innocence in a child into a so-called adulthood, that they believe in something that started as a child. But all of a sudden you got to just cut the rope and tell them, nope, it's fake. We've been telling you your whole life it's fucking fake. Because I seen it in my daughter's eyes when she cried, and it fucking broke my heart to see my daughter crying, that I had to break to her reality. Santa Claus isn't really real. And it goes with everything.
How old was your daughter when you had to have that conversation with her?
Before she started 7th grade. So what is that, 11, 12 years old?
So 6th grade, 12, yeah.
And but the fact that I was very happy as a parent that at that age she still believed in something. Where my nieces and nephews are like, fuck Santa Claus is fucking fake. And they told my kids, and I was like, hey, you need to shut your mouth. Let my kids believe in what they want to believe in, and you know what I mean? And to let me be the one to break their heart, you know?
Well, kids believe what they believe in because their parents taught them that.
Right.
You know?
Can you imagine if, you know what I mean? And it may be fairy tales or whatever, but stuff that literally like breaks people down. The happiness that you see in a kid walking up to Santa Claus to sit on his lap, to tell him what they want for Christmas. As a parent, you're standing there listening, right? If you could keep that raw pureness of being happy through your whole life, could you imagine what the world would be like?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not going to happen. And it's already too late for that.
Yeah, you know, it's hard for me to imagine the whole Santa Claus thing because as a kid, I never sat on Santa Claus' lap.
Me neither.
I never went to the mall or had those photos. You know, a lot of like people, well-to-do families, they have photos of their children and the family sitting on Santa Claus' lap.
Right.
It's like everybody's dressed nice, and it's like it seems like Santa Claus is more of a well-to-do family's guy.
Well, I mean, you know, and me being the religious part, you know what I mean, being raised from 3 to 4 years old, that Santa wasn't real, that Christmas was the birth of Christ, Easter was the risen of the dead, you know what I mean, of the risen of Christ.
Yeah, 3 days later, yeah.
You know, so I get you, you know what I mean, I had the same thing, but I think about it sometimes, you know, if you could just harness that innocence, that, you know what I mean, and the fact that a child could hold it that much longer of believing in something and in the innocence and you know, Christmas, it doesn't have to be Santa Claus, you know what I mean? I'm not saying that, you know what I mean? Just
I know.
But as adults, at some time, we cut it off. All those dreams, all those fantasies, and kids have them. I guarantee, about Santa Claus, about Halloween, about, you know what I mean, all these fantasies, and us as adults cut it.
Yeah. Well, my response to that is like, let's say me right now is 50 years old. If I was to meet somebody a little bit younger than me, we fall in love and we get married and we have a child. I would rather instead of teaching that child about Santa Claus, like how this imaginary person is going to bring the gifts, I want to teach them how these gifts are coming to you by dad's hard work, mom and dad's hard work. Christmas is happening. You know, this is Jesus' birthday. It's not about Santa Claus. It's more about Christ. It's more about hard work and like living. That's how I was when I told my sons that Santa Claus is pretty much fake.
But how do you think about it now?
I have no regrets. That's
okay.
I'm thinking the same.
Okay.
You know, that's just, it is what it is. No disrespect, you know.
No, and I understand it. You know, I mean, it's just the way that people are raised. You know.
Yeah.
But like I say, is for myself, there's an innocence, right? And a child doesn't know right from wrong, right? As far as they know, a child is doing good, right?
Yeah.
And they learn the right and wrong from adults.
Exactly.
Right? And being who's teaching them what is right and what is wrong is also controversial, right? To another person that's saying, well, maybe you shouldn't teach your child that, right? Or maybe you should have taught him that. So that is always been the what do you call it? A conundrum.
Yeah.
When is right and when is wrong. You know, who's teaching right and who's teaching wrong. They say raising a child is, you need, what is it? The old saying. There's a book, right? I wish I had the book on raising my child, right?
Yeah. There's no instruction manual.
Well, I would need 3 instruction manuals because all 3 of my kids are different.
Exactly.
You know, and one of them's going, yeah, I knew it first grade, Dad. There was no Santa Claus, right? But I have another one that made it all the way to 7th grade. That broke her. I had to be the one to break her heart to tell her there was no Santa Claus. You know, so you know it's you know, it doesn't have to do with Santa Claus. You know what I mean? It's just raising a child. Period. There's no book. You got to write each one. You know, to do whatever, and hopefully you're doing the best as a parent. You know, as you can be. You know, I mean, I turned out fine. For when it comes in, and I have this conversation with my wife all the time.
How old were you when you discovered Santa Claus was not real? Were you in the 7th grade?
No, I knew he wasn't real from 3 to 4 years old because I was in the church. I was told there was a heaven and there was a hell. Christmas, Easter, that was the birth of Christ, the resurrection of Christ, right?
Yeah.
Halloween, yeah, that was a total devil day, right?
Yeah.
Right? Thanksgiving, a day of giving. You know, everybody cooked a turkey as far as I, but there was just these certain holidays that you just didn't do, and there was, so I still have a problem with, I don't have a problem with it. Holidays, period, for me. But having kids made me play the part. You know what I mean? Because I was raised. There ain't no Christmas. I never had trees. I never had presents, right? So me growing up, so now I have kids. I'm not going to deprive my kids of that. You know what I mean? That's the difference between me and you. I was pre-deprived of it, right? And I was like, hey, I'm going to give them the chance. You know what I mean? I'm going to let them believe in Santa as long as they want. I'm going to let them believe in the Easter Bunny as long as they can. You know what I mean? I'm going to let them dress up as however they want, I'm going to let them make their choices, and and give them what I didn't have, hey. And when they figured it out, they figured it out.
Yeah. Well, I figured out that Santa Claus was not real at a young age because Santa Claus was just not bringing me what I was asking for.
No, I get it. And that's the difference between us. My religion said there wasn't one, so I didn't expect nothing as a child.
Yeah.
But when you're told,
well, my religion didn't say there was a Santa Claus either.
Right, but you're at a young age. I knew I was not expecting anything. There was no expectations. Yeah. As a very young kid, I knew that hey, Santa's not real. If that's not given to you and you're still hearing your friends, hey, in third, first, second grade, hey, Santa brought me my bicycle. Santa brought me this. They're still, as a child, you're going, hey, there's a possibility, but he didn't come to my house this year. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
You know where I'm coming from.
And how does that make you feel when like all these kids with like money are getting, or Santa Claus are bringing them all these expensive gifts, but here you are as a poor kid, you ain't getting shit from sucking Santa. And how come Santa's ignoring you because you're poor?
Right.
And why are they giving the rich kid presents?
Right. And that's the part I couldn't at that time.
Yeah.
And even now, like, now I can say, you know what I mean? But to relate with, at a young age, I was told there is no such thing as Santa Claus. There is, you know what I mean? 3-4 years old. There is no Santa Claus. Don't expect anything.
And I'm okay at this point in my life. I'm okay with somebody telling me that, and I'm okay with me telling my sons that.
Right.
Because real's real.
Okay.
It's real.
But look so as a parent, I was able to make a list, right? Because I worked, you know what I mean? I made more money than my parents, right? Me and my wife together, we, you know what I mean? We were able to do more than my parents were. Mm-hmm. So I was able to say, make a list to my kids, right? It's Christmas time. Make a list. Yeah. And you're not guaranteed everything on the list, you know what I mean? Because they always, but Santa was able to bring certain parts of that list because me and my wife were able to afford that. You know what I'm saying? So I was able to keep that dream on my kids of Santa Claus. Now, as a kid, boom, no Santa Claus, he don't exist, whatever, and I knew that, right?
Yeah.
But as a parent, I was able to keep that fantasy for my kids alive. You know what I'm saying? So when they made that list, right, instead of saying, look, I'm going to save this $100, there ain't no fucking Santa Claus, I blew that $100 and tried to make their fantasy real. You know what I mean? And made them believe in a Santa Claus, made them believe in the Easter Bunny. I didn't make them, you know what I mean? But I was able to make that available to their dreams, and have that fantasy of there is an Easter Bunny and there is a Santa Claus, because I didn't have that. But when I made it a goal to let them be a kid as long as possible and believe in these fantasies as long as possible, that I could make it possible. Yeah. And that's what I did.
Okay.
Because I was able to do that. Hey, they weren't, they didn't get that diamond ring or the fancy cars or whatever, you know what I mean? But, hey, my daughter got a dollhouse. My son got a dirt bike. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's why we did Christmas Eve was what we gave them.
So your daughter got a dollhouse. Your son got a dirt bike. Do they believe that Santa Claus brought that?
They did.
Okay.
All like I said, my oldest daughter, all the way up to 7th grade, when we told her before she started junior high, me and my wife pulled her aside, and it fucking broke my heart to have to tell her, because she still at that age believed in Santa Claus, and I think that I did
Why did it break your heart when you had to tell her? Why?
Because I was breaking a fantasy of somebody, you know what I mean, that she believed in. She believed in Santa Claus.
Yeah, but you as a parent, you're pushing this agenda as the fantasy, you say.
Right.
Santa Claus is bringing these presents, so why not keep pushing it? Why did you have to come to the point to where you had to
break that fantasy?
You had to break it too.
Because because as a parent, you know that he's not real.
Yeah.
And you push this issue on, and you know what I mean, it's a fucking two-edged blade, right?
Yeah, and the reason why I'm pushing it to this level, and I brought it to this point, because I'm trying to prove a point myself.
Right.
And I'll
so do you want to prove it now?
I'll come to it.
Or do you want to prove it then? I understand.
Yeah.
I get where you're coming 100%. I already know where you're going.
Yeah. Okay.
Because you could either prove it now, right, and tell them, look, Santa Claus don't exist. What do you want for Christmas? You want a gift card, or you want that fucking electric car? You know what I mean? Or you can have them live in that fantasy world, right, as a child that every kid wants to be, you know what I mean, to be in. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not a million-year-old fantasy for nothing.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, so I agree. I agree that as like young children, like probably 5, 6, 7 years old, they should believe in Santa Claus. I mean, it's fun.
Yeah.
It's fun. But I do believe that there's a point to where like, okay, it's a little too real for my children. It's a little too real. I need to start thinking about bringing a little bit of reality to them. Because that's all about being a parent.
Right.
Is you got to bring in reality.
And like I said, I understand 100%.
Yeah.
Right. It's up to you as a parent when you want to break that fucking imaginary. You know what I mean?
And as a parent, you are the one to decide. Nobody else.
Right.
Like earlier or late.
Right.
Yeah. So don't get me wrong on that.
And I pulled it out as long as I could.
Yeah.
With my oldest daughter, I pulled it all the way to 7th grade. You know what I mean?
Okay,
right before
okay.
12, 13 years old.
Okay, so now we're at 7th grade, and you had to tell her.
Yes.
Were you delicate? Were you like just pull the Band-Aid off? Or how did it go?
No, it was pull the Band-Aid off softly, I guess you want to say.
Yeah.
I mean, if there's such a thing. You know, because if there's hairs in that fucking glue, it still fucking hurts, right? Because she cried. But me and my wife sat down and we were like, we don't know how to tell you this, but, you know what I mean? We're, every parent's going to have a different story on how they did it. You know what I mean? If they had to do it and when they did it, I guarantee it. You know what I mean? It's a total different.
I know when I told my son, I felt like a dick. I felt like I'm a fucking asshole, Dad. I'm sorry, but something in me was like, I need to do this.
Right.
Because there's what's real and what's fake. Santa Claus fake. And I wanted to be real with my sons.
Right. No, and there's nothing wrong with that. And like I said, it depends on when you want to pull the fucking Band-Aid off.
Yeah.
You know? If I could, no shit, if my 24-year-old daughter still believed in Santa Claus because I never told her, I would love it.
And you'd keep...
I would keep buying her presents and keep...
And Sanders from Santa Claus.
And Sanders from Santa Claus.
Yeah.
I would.
That's loving dad right there.
Right?
I'll tell you.
You know what I mean? And
yeah. I will never say that that's a dad that does not love his daughter.
But society would... the reason I told her at 7th grade is because of society. Because at 7th grade, you're going to have that kids, whatever, they're going to say, oh, yeah, really? You believe in Santa Claus? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's going to break her heart.
There's going to be that fight.
So do I want somebody else to break her heart? Or do I want to be the one that does it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And me and my wife, we felt that we should be the one to break it to her. You know what I mean? With my kids, period. I don't care what it is. I would rather me be the one that they hate for the rest of their life, right? For telling them something that's real.
Well, when it comes to Santa Claus, they wouldn't hate you for the rest of their life.
But it doesn't matter what it is.
They would mature to a point, right? Okay, yeah. It's true.
Yeah, but
it's fake. Yeah.
But I get it. But I would rather tell my children something that would break their heart and have them hate me and have them live a normal life, right?
Yeah.
Than to have somebody else break their heart and not understand. That's how I am. I would rather my kids have me tell them something.
Yeah.
And have them mad at me. You know what I mean? And maybe hopefully, work it out and fix it out. Than to have them believing in something or doing something that's going to hurt them for the rest of their life.
Okay, I got you.
And that's how I've always been that with my kids.
Well, let me ask you this. Here we are in November.
Right.
Thanksgiving's next. Is that next week?
Yeah.
Is Santa Claus coming to your house in December 25th?
I got little
24th?
I got little nieces and nephews, yes. Just because my kids are buying for their little nieces and nephews.
Okay, you got me on that because you said nieces and nephews.
Yep.
All right. I wasn't going that angle, but
no,
that was me for the bad build up. But yeah, you got me. You got me. Lemar.
He's showing up because my kids pass it down.
When it comes to that, yeah, you I'm backing you up. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's coming. He's coming with nieces and nephews.
Yeah. Yeah, and I love it. I love the fact that my little nieces and nephews still believe. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's something that I pass down. Even though my kids learn that he's not real, they're still down to push that issue. Let's keep him real as long as possible.
Because it's fun. Yeah, it's fun.
It
right?
is.
It's fun.
No, it is. Dude, I almost got smacked the other day because my niece was in the back seat, and I was talking shit to my daughter, and she said something about me buying her something. I said, "You know Santa ain't real." Dude, my wife almost smacked the shit out of me.
Well,
because my little 5-year-old niece is in the back seat, and I was like, "I'm just kidding. Santa be here. He's coming. I swear to God." You know what I mean? You know what I mean? It's just a tradition, you know?
yeah. Well,
let them grow up and let them believe in what they want to believe, you know, to a certain age, and they're going to learn, be it the hard way or from their parents. You know what I mean? Either friends, I guarantee it. Either a friend's going to tell them, you know, Santa ain't real, or their parents are going to tell you Santa ain't real.
Well, I think this is a good conversation that we had about Santa and when
It's the holidays.
when she Christmas is coming up.
Definitely.
So it's a good conversation to bring up when should we tell our kids Santa's real, fake,
Yeah.
you know, or do you ever do that? Do you let them determine on their own
Yeah.
when they don't believe in Santa?
Yeah, when they peek around the corner and you're building something, and they're like,
Yeah, so I felt the need to go ahead and bring it to light. Some people, some parents like yourself may disagree with my method, and I don't think anything bad about that.
Right,
It's just
no.
everybody's different. Everybody raises their children different.
Exactly.
You know, and you know, respect to that because you're taking an initiative to
keep the dream alive.
exactly. Like I believe that Santa Claus, the whole narrative was, it was a good spell in my children's life, but I felt the time to tell them was the time to tell them,
Yeah.
and I felt like a dick.
No, I did.
know?
You know, I felt.
But I felt it necessary. You know.
Exactly. Like I said, it broke my heart to have to tell my daughter this, right? Because she believed in him and she cried,
Yeah.
you know? So it makes you feel like a dick. You know what I mean? That you have to break this fantasy, you know? Look, like I said, the Tooth Fairy. I had to damn near learn calligraphy, which is funny because like she knew what my fucking handwriting was to begin with, right?
You had to learn calligraphy to disguise it was.
I was disguising my handwriting, right, to a 5-year-old that probably couldn't write, you know, cursive, couldn't read anyways.
It is from Santa. This isn't Dad's handwriting.
Well, she would tell me like it was the Tooth Fairy, right? Hey, Dad, I've had my tooth's been underneath my pillow for like 3 days and it's still there. I'm like, oh shit, you know. Well, you got to tell somebody, you know, that you put it there. So then at that night I'm writing in a cursive, you know, that I'm copying off some fucking magazine, all the different letters, you know, hoping she don't recognize it, you know. But as a parent, that's what I was doing. You know what I mean? You know, hey, sorry. You know, I've been busy. There's a lot of teeth lost this month or whatever, you know, I wrote. Yeah. And she would read it and you know, find the $2, $5 or whatever was underneath the pillow. But I did it for me because the way I was raised, I had no fantasy, right? That there was a Christmas, that there was a bunny, that there was a tooth fairy,
Yeah.
right? And I wanted my kids to have that full 100% experience as long as they could have it. And I wanted them to keep that innocence as long as they could for me. You know what I mean? And that's how I felt.
I got you, man.
And I did it as long as possible. You know, my youngest is 20 years old. She still believes in... No, I'm just kidding.
I mean, that's fine.
But they pass it on now.
It wouldn't be my place to say that's bad or good. You know.
But my kids...
I'm not in that.
And my kids are
house,
passing it on now. You know what I mean? To their nieces, you know what I mean? Their little cousins, you know what I mean? To, you know, tell them, hey, you know, Santa, you know, and they're, you know, and hey, as soon as nobody believes Santa's fucking sleigh don't fucking run no more. You know what I mean? I don't understand. I couldn't see the world without kids that have a fantasy or a dream. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Can you imagine a kid 3 years old saying, I don't believe in shit?
Well, I see what you're saying. I'm not against that. My whole, not argument, but what I was saying was like, there comes a point when they're older.
You got to tell them.
Hey, you know. And I felt the time to tell my son, it just came to me.
Yeah.
I was like, you know what? I just had a problem with letting him know like this fake guy is buying these presents. I'm like, no, I'm working very hard for this. I'm not giving the credit to somebody who don't even believe.
Yeah.
You know, who doesn't even exist.
Everybody's
I want my son's appreciation to come from me.
Yeah.
Not a make believe guy.
Yeah.
You know.
That's the part that didn't bother me.
But it bothered me at the time, and I don't know. Maybe it's because of our different upbringings, or I don't know. But it is what it is.
Like I said, you know what I mean? One day was from the parents.
Yeah.
Eve was from us. And they opened up. So this is what it was. This is how we did it. One present came from Santa Claus. So Christmas, they knew everything that they got came from their mom and dad. Christmas Day, when they woke up in the morning on Christmas the 25th, that came from Santa Claus, right? It wasn't the pile that came from the parents, you know what I mean? They loved everything that came from us, you know, but that one present that we could afford that on their list from Santa, that was it. It wasn't like they went under there and opened up a bunch of shit and they were like, all this came from Santa.
Yeah.
No, the pre was parents, and they knew that, you know, from mom, from dad, you know, from uncle, from aunt, whatever. And that one present, you know, that we as parents was like, this is probably what they want the best. They want the most, you know what I mean? And they opened it on, that's what I'm saying. I'm putting bikes together. I'm putting doll houses together, you know, and bringing out, and that came from Santa.
Okay.
It was awesome, and, you know, and I loved it. I still love it. The fact that my kids roll that over now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Christmas Eve, all the family comes over, you know, and open their presents, and, you know, whichever one. So right now, it's all Christmas Eve, because none of my kids have kids. So it's all Christmas Eve. But I know for a fact, when my kids have kids, Christmas Eve will be from them, and Christmas Day, their kids are going to get up and run downstairs to see what Santa Claus brought them. And this is just something that I passed down.
So on that note, we're going to leave that at that.
Yeah.
We're going to leave that at that. Good conversation about Santa Claus and when we should let them know.
Yeah, definitely.
That was good. And you know what? I would encourage the people viewing this on YouTube to put down in the comments, what do you think about Santa Claus and when should you let them know, or should you just let it ride?
Yeah, definitely.
So me, I let him know. Lemar, he's more of a let it ride type of guy.
Right.
Right. And he's still my buddy. I love him, and it is what it is. Like we all do our lives a little bit different.
Yeah, donate $1 to his idea, $2 to mine.
So with that said, I'm going to change the subject now.
All right.
To that shirt you're wearing.
Oh.
I'm gonna like just. This is out of the blue, very random.
Yeah, I'm not supposed to wear this to work.
I like plaid, bro.
Yeah.
Where'd you get that shirt?
So we could shout out to this man.
Shoot it.
So this is a real Pendleton.
Okay.
This is like $180 shirt.
Okay.
Something like that, 120, 100 and some dollar. It's a Pendleton. It's a real deal.
Wait. So if I was to look at the tag on that shirt,
It says Pendleton. Right back here.
Are you ready to prove that?
Let's try. I have never really looked at it. So here.
Okay, I believe you.
No. I'm curious myself.
I believe you.
I'm curious myself.
I'm just playing, man.
So where my wife bought it is Joe Hassan.
I don't know who that is.
All right. So he's a company that's in Lodi, which is now opening a brand new store in Lincoln Center. Yeah.
And what's his name?
Joe Hassan.
And what's the store's name called?
That's the name of it. It's the name of the store.
Joe Hassan?
Yeah.
And
he sells
he's
all
like,
work.
So he's an unauthorized Pendleton dealer?
Dickies, Carhartt, what's that country? The country starts with an A.
I don't know.
Hey, the boots that I bought from him. These are, Red Wing. It's a work. He sells like everything to do with work. Like I said, Ben Davis, Carhartt.
What's that one? Something Tree. It's like a camouflage brand. Something Tree. I forgot what it's called. All Tree or.
He might, but
I don't know.
He's got the original Pendletons, Dickies. He's opening a new store right now. It's under construction in Lincoln Center right now.
Okay.
Right across from Midgley's. Yeah, it says right there that he's moving here. Everything to do with work. Anything to do with work, clothes, he's got it. And I've been shopping with him for a couple years. After I found out about him, he's hella cool. Go in there, buy Pendleton, and you're looking at a Carhartt beanie. He's like, I'll throw that in with it. It's on me. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Dude's hella cool. His shoes, you know what I mean? I've always bought my boots from there. All my pants. Okay. And you see something like I said, like a beanie or a baño, he's like, oh yeah, I got you a pair of shoelaces, a hat. He sells hats there. You know what I mean? Because it says Carhartt and you're buying Carhartt clothes. I'll throw the hat in with you. Yeah. Shout out to Joe Hassan. You know what I mean? Give me right forever. As long as I've been, I ain't been there forever, but as long as I've been shopping there the last couple of years, you hooked me up with all my clothes, and this is one of your Pendletons. Right. Yeah. Yeah. No, cool shirt. Yeah, definitely.
I'm glad I asked about your shirt because I like shirts. Man.
Yeah. No, he's got.
I'm a shirt guy.
I went in there and I bought all my Ben Davises, all my Carhartt. I can't remember that country western that's everybody's going, you dumbass.
It's probably well known.
It starts with an A. Ariat. That's what it's called. Ariat.
I never heard of it myself.
Boots. Ariat boots. It was like cowboy setup. You know, cowboys that wanted work clothes. So you have cowboy boots, you know, Ariat. Clothes, you know what I mean? Be it whatever the cowboys wear or whatever, I guess. But it's Ariat. That's what it is.
Okay, Ariat.
Yeah. Johosan. He's opened up in Lincoln Center. I don't know when, but I just went the other night on the 20th, my anniversary. Went to Midgley's.
I like Midgley's. That place is nice.
It's very nice. Yeah, I go there, have some drinks and drink.
You guys went there for your anniversary?
Yeah.
For dinner or just
for dinner? We went for dinner.
Steaks?
I got the ribeye, yeah.
That's right.
But I've got the tomahawk there.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I got the tomahawk there before. I ate the whole thing by myself.
That's
like
right.
a 42-ounce steak. Whatever it is. It's huge. I shit you. I ate the whole thing to myself. Awesome place. Drinks, you know.
Yeah.
And their dessert. Oh my God. Midgley's has the best banana pudding. It's like a 3-tier pudding. It's got like whipped cream pudding. It's got hot pudding, like burn your fucking mouth, like heat. And then it's got banana pudding on the bottom that's like cold. Yeah, that's fire.
Huh.
Yeah. I hope y'all looking at my, whatever it is, but yeah, Midgley's. Yeah, they got fire over there.
Yeah, Midgley's is a very well-known restaurant in Stockton here in the 209. They're in Lincoln Center. That's
Yes.
Ben Holt and Pacific Avenue. I've been there probably 3 times, and nothing but good things to say about that place.
I tell you what, you don't take your kids and the family unless you got a fat ass wallet. Once a year I do.
I took Andrew there for his birthday.
Yeah.
It was Andrew, his girlfriend, his brother Nicholas, and myself.
It had to be over 5.
And you know what? I was like, anything on the menu. Andrew, I'm like, Andrew, it's your birthday.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was not even close to 500.
Over.
But I'll tell you what, it was well over 300.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was somewhere in between 300 and 400.
Hey, some people, that's easy. You know what I mean?
But here's the deal. I knew it was going to be that.
Yeah.
So it wasn't a surprise.
Yeah, definitely.
So I knew how much the meals cost before I bought it. And I was like, you know what? It's your birthday.
But it's worth it.
We're doing it.
They're very good. Very good.
Exactly.
Hey, if I could spend that every day, I wouldn't even have the old lady cook. I would just go there every freaking day.
Yeah.
And have their, ribeye.
Trust me, that's why I know it must be nice to be rich.
Yeah. Must be. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Shout out to Hassan and Midgley's.
Okay, so I think it's pretty much a sin for anybody to come to Stockton for overnight or a couple of days and not eat at Midgley's.
I would agree.
I mean, if you want to do some fine dining, good atmosphere, some drinks, some good steaks, tomahawks, it's a cut above the rest, if you know what I mean.
Oh no, definitely.
Paying a little bit more.
They got the lobster and shrimp, whatever.
Yeah.
I know they have a lobster. You can put lobster on whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
So that's where it's at in Stockton.
I think.
I think we both think. I think a lot of people think that. It's a very well-known place.
I try not to think too much. It makes my ass hurt.
So on that note, man, hey, man, we've been talking for a couple hours now.
Okay.
Lemar, hey, thanks for coming over, man. We didn't really have a plan on what to talk about, and hey, the conversation just came. It just came naturally. We just talked about whatever came up,
No,
so,
we got good conversation between us. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like we've conversated before. How we met and everything.
Yeah.
And we just clicked.
Well, we didn't really touch on how we met on this episode, but
Right.
I think we have on the last one.
Yeah, but we clicked.
And we'll talk about it again. Later on.
Drink and conversation. We have no problem with that. You know,
that comes hand in hand, brother.
you know, hey, you know, beer and there. You know, like I said, you know, you start drinking some beer, and we end up there.
Okay, well, you know, so we got to call it because I work tomorrow morning. You're off.
Yeah, I got the weekends off.
But when I get off work at 2:00 tomorrow, I'm off for the whole weekend.
Yeah.
So you imagine what kind of recording we can do then when I know I don't have to wake up in the morning.
Oh, definitely. You know, kind of like you thinking that I don't work on Mondays.
Well, yeah, you work on Mondays now. Yeah.
I've been working on Mondays.
Well,
you know, but it happens. You know.
yeah.
Hey, if the alarm clock goes off, I'm up and running. I might be a little sideways.
Well, I'll be at work tomorrow.
Okay.
So with that said, man, we've been here for a couple hours now, and I got some footage I'm about to edit.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have a solid podcast thanks to you, man.
Hey,
because I couldn't do this by myself.
No, I, you know, and you're the one that got me in this. There's no way I even thought my whole life that I would be sitting in front of a camera, you know, and video and, you know, what I got to say.
Yeah, that's something I was gonna bring up. Like, would you in a million years ever think that you'd be sitting in a room with a homie with a mic in front of your face, headphones, cameras, in a podcast setting?
Let alone like I mean, you know,
talking about stuff.
You know, the last little thing that we did, you know, I had like, I think over 200 views. You know what I mean? That means there's over 200 people that watch what we had to talk about, you know?
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's hella cool, you know?
Well, you got to think in the YouTube world, 200 views is not really a lot in the grand scheme of things. But for me and you, I'm like, wow, 200 people fucking
I didn't
saw
even think
our video?
Didn't even think I knew 200
We
people.
think that's pretty damn cool.
Yeah, you know? So, you know, we're just kind of trying to make it more interesting or whatever, you know? I mean, I don't see how my life is that much interesting, but, you know, well, you know, I definitely got more stuff to talk about.
Well, your life is interesting. Anybody who I have across the table from me, your life is interesting.
Yeah.
You know, because it's different than mine. So, because you are not me, that means there's questions to be asked.
Yeah.
So well, that would make a good podcast.
Well, maybe next time we'll run back and forth and, you know, have the other side of the table talk about some stuff too. You know, I don't know.
I like it.
We'll see what. You know,
I like it. Let's do it.
Definitely. Hey, I appreciate you being here. Definitely.
Yeah.
You know, I like it.
Hey, we're gonna go ahead and end it tonight.
All right.
So, hey, thanks for showing up, man. Thanks for having some drinks with me.
Definitely.
Thanks for cutting the limes.
Hell yeah. You know, like I said, you're good people. 100%. Anybody says anything different, yeah, I'll punch him in the eye.
Hey, I'm gonna send them to you.
Hell yeah.
All right, brother. Hey,
all right, bro.
I'm gonna edit this video, get it up tonight, and
see what happens.
We'll talk again.
Yeah, definitely. Tomorrow.
Yeah. Hey everybody. Hey, I'm Keither.B for the Keither.B podcast channel. Hey, if you want to support my channel, if you want to hear some more, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and any suggestions on how we can do anything different, put it in the comments below.
Yeah, and stay away from the chickens.
Nothing but respect, and no matter what you say, you know, even if it's I wouldn't say negative, but even if you have like some criticism, we'll take it to heart, and we'll try to fix some stuff. So thanks everybody, and thanks Lemar for coming by.
You know it.
That's
Let's
right.
do this.
All right, thanks everybody. I hope to see you guys next time.